Imagine being born into a world where your worth is measured not by your heart, but by the weight of your family's poverty. A young village girl, stripped of her dreams, was forced into marriage with a man the entire community mocked for his ragged clothes and empty pockets. They laughed, they ridiculed, they pointed fingers, believing her life was ruined forever. But what no one knew was that beneath the dust and torn fabric, her husband carried a secret so powerful it would silence every mocking voice. This is not just a story, it's a mirror of injustice, pride, and fate. In a remote village surrounded by fields that barely yielded enough to feed its people, lived a young girl named Amara. From childhood she bore the brunt of hardship. Her parents struggled daily, and their only hope was that marriage might someday lighten their burden. But Amara was different. She longed for education, independence, and a chance to rise beyond the chains of generational poverty. Yet, dreams have little value where poverty reigns. When she came of age, whispers spread that she should be married off quickly, before hunger forced worse fates upon the family. Suitors came and went, some with demands her family could never meet, others who turned away at the sight of her tattered clothes. Then came Chica, a man the villagers mocked endlessly. His appearance was rough, his clothes patched, his sandals worn thin, his face tired. They said he was cursed with poverty, destined to remain a beggar at the mercy of others. No one could imagine he had any future at all. Amara resisted, but her parents insisted. Better a husband than starvation, they said, believing they had secured at least a form of survival for her. And so, under the jeers of neighbors and the laughter of relatives, she was forced to marry the man everyone despised. As she left her home with tears streaming down her face, the village erupted in ridicule. No one knew this marriage would one day expose the cruelty of their judgment and unravel a truth buried beneath years of deception. Life after marriage was harsher than Amara imagined. Their small hut stood at the edge of the village, far from laughter, far from kindness. Every day she carried heavy burdens, fetching water, gathering firewood, toiling in fields that belonged to others. The villagers never let her forget her shame. Children mocked her when she passed. Women whispered behind her back. Men laughed openly, calling her the wife of the poorest man alive. Cheek never fought back. He endured the insults with silence, his face unreadable. To Amara, this silence felt like weakness, and resentment grew in her heart. She wondered if she had truly been condemned to a life of suffering, but something strange began to reveal itself. Despite their lack of wealth, Chike always seemed to have just enough. When food was scarce, he somehow brought grain. When illness struck, he provided medicine no one else could afford. Villagers scoffed, saying he must be stealing or begging in secret. But Amara began to notice small details, the way he studied books by candlelight, the calm authority in his voice when he spoke about matters beyond the village, the quiet confidence that didn't match his ragged clothes. One evening, when the village gathered for a festival, an incident occurred that changed everything. A wealthy landowner arrived with gifts, and many bowed before him. Yet, Cheek stood apart, watching with sharp eyes. When the landowner tried to cheat the villagers with false promises, Cheek stepped forward, exposing the man's lies with knowledge of laws and business that the villagers didn't even understand. Everyone stared in shock. How could this poor man speak with such authority? Still, most dismissed it, convinced it was a fluke. But Amara's heart began to stir with questions. Who exactly was the man she had married? The truth finally shattered through one stormy night. A group of officials and wealthy strangers arrived in the village, traveling in cars no one had ever seen before. They searched for a man, someone of high importance who had disappeared years ago. As torches lit the night, they came straight to the hut where Amara and Cheek lived. To everyone's astonishment, they bowed before him. Words spread like fire. Cheek was not a beggar, not a cursed man, but the heir to vast estates and businesses hidden from the public eye. Years ago, betrayed by those he trusted, he had abandoned the world of wealth to live among common people, seeking truth and loyalty over gold. The villagers who once spat at his feet now fell silent, their laughter swallowed by shame. Amara, trembling, realized the man she had resented carried not just riches, but a strength of character forged in silence. He had endured humiliation to see who would stand by him without the blinding light of wealth. Her forced marriage, once her greatest sorrow, was now the turning point of her destiny. But the revelation was bittersweet. Chiki looked upon the same villagers who had mocked him and his wife, their faces pale with regret. His words cut through the night, not with anger, but with wisdom. "You measured worth by rags and wealth by coins," he said. "Yet the greatest riches are revealed not by appearance, but by truth, patience, and the heart." The days that followed transformed the village. Those who once mocked Amara now tried to befriend her, showering her with praise. But she never forgot the nights she cried alone, mocked for her poverty, and judged for her husband's appearance. She carried that memory not as bitterness, but as strength. Chike, though revealed as a billionaire heir, did not rush to abandon the village. Instead, he invested in schools, clean water, and opportunities for those who had once rejected him. Slowly, he rebuilt not just his life, but the dignity of the forgotten community. For Amara, the lesson was carved deeply into her soul. She realized that wealth can vanish in a storm, but dignity and compassion endure forever. What began as a forced marriage of despair became a union of destiny, rewriting her story from victim to victor. And the villagers? They were left to wrestle with their shame, a reminder that cruelty born of prejudice often blinds us to the truth standing right before our eyes. So now, I leave you with this. How often do we dismiss people because of how they look, where they come from, or what we think they lack? How many lives have been crushed under the weight of judgment, only for the truth to prove us wrong? This story is not just about a poor girl or a secret billionaire. It's about the injustice we create when we measure humanity by wealth, and the redemption that comes when truth finally breaks through.